Welcome back, everyone. Hope you guys had a great Monday. It was an interesting Monday for sure. Miners were down. I think Bitcoin was down and then up towards the end of the day. Came back a little bit down more, but it finished in the green today, so it wasn't too bad. We got a bunch of news stories. Mawson, wow, they got a HPC contract. The stock did tremendously well today. So they are no longer on my list of companies possibly going out of into bankruptcy. That's a good sign there. We had also Marathon report. They got a $250 million convertible note. They're going to be using that for Bitcoin. We'll talk about that. We also have, what else do we have there? Terawulf reported their financial results for Q2 along with Bitdeer. So we'll get through all that stuff. I'll give you guys my thoughts on all the stuff as well. And then we'll get into the Q&A side of things. So let's get into it here. As always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. And my full disclosure down below that. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here really quick and the miners as well, how they did today. And like we talked about, Bitcoin was actually down on the day, came back up quite nicely, then it came back down towards the end of the day here, looks like. Let's go to the 1 hour chart here really quick, see what happened on it on the day, if it loads. There it goes. Okay, so during like the morning hours, Bitcoin started going up pretty nicely here. We had a nice wick here to the upside, and then we kind of fell back down towards the afternoon. And then we came back up a little bit here. And then when was it? President Trump was speaking. He was supposed to speak at 7 o'clock on X, but he didn't start really talking until 8 o'clock because Twitter had X had a DDoS attack on them. They got that resolved, and then they started the speech. So I was listening to that while I was doing the research here for the, getting prepared basically for the show tonight. I did catch about an hour or so of it, not a full hour, I don't think, before I had to take a shower, get everything set up here for now. But I did listen to it. I don't really know what to think of it. It was more just, there wasn't any hard-pressing questions of President Trump. It was just two guys talking to each other and how one would do one thing better than the other one. So I'll leave it at that for that one. But yeah, miners did not too well today also. Bitcoin was, like we talked about, Bitcoin was up and down today. It ended up in the green, which was a good day for it nonetheless. Here we're up in a little bit here as well on it. And then miners were pretty much down for the most part, except for, what did we have here? 4 miners that were in the green here. Argo was up just a little bit here, 3%. Digihost was up just 0.5%. IREN almost a 1% there. And Mawson had a huge day today. Look at that candle. That candle was wicked. So it went up quite tremendously here. Was up 78 cents on the day, 71% up on the date, and that was based on the news that came out, which we'll take a look at here in a second. I think we'll get into Marathon first and then get into Mawson as well. Typically, we cover Mawson like once a month when they report, when all the smaller miners report their operational updates for the month. We'll cover them at that point, but I thought this was just a big news story here for Mawson, so I thought we would cover it as well. And if any of you guys had Mawson, congrats to you guys. I did not have this one on my bingo card. But yeah, this one has done really well today, and I think it might be just the start of good things for the company here going forward. All right, so that's it on the miners, Bitcoin as well. Let's take a look at the news stories. We'll get into Marathon first. And Marathon, Digital Holdings Inc. announces pricing of oversubscribed offering of convertible senior notes. So today they announced the pricing of its offering of $250 million aggregate principal amount of 2.125% convertible senior notes due in 2031, and the notes will be sold in a private offering to persons reasonably believed to be qualified institutional buyers based on the Rule of 144A on the Securities Act of 1933. Up to an additional, let's see here, they also have an option here for an additional $50 million aggregate principal amount of the notes. The option to purchase additional notes was upsized from the previously announced option to purchase $37.5 million aggregate principal amount of notes. The offering is expected to close on August 14th, so just a couple of days, subject to satisfaction of customary closing conditions. Now, what are they going to be using that cash for? Well, Mara intends to use that net proceeds from the sale of the notes to acquire additional Bitcoin and for general corporate purposes, which may include working capital, strategic acquisitions, and expansion of existing assets and repayment of debt and other outstanding obligations. My take on this is that they're probably going to be using this to buy more Bitcoin. They bought Bitcoin last month. If we look at Marathon here, let's go over here really quick. Marathon, I'll close that up. You can see here that they bought close to, what was it? They mined 646 Bitcoin here. So they bought an additional, maybe it's down here in my chart. Let's see, what did they buy here additionally? I do not have that. 1590, so it doesn't show the negative on this side of things. Okay. Yeah, 1590. So what is it, about 900 or so Bitcoin that they purchased at that point in July, 100 million worth, I believe it was. So they're going to be doing the same thing going forward. What are my thoughts on this? I mean, historically, I have not been a fan of Bitcoin miners buying Bitcoin. They're in the business to mine Bitcoin, not purchase it. If I was to invest in a company, why would I invest in a company that buys Bitcoin when I can do it myself? That's kind of my thought process, at least on it. But there could be a benefit to it if Bitcoin, like some people are saying, by 2031 could possibly get close to $1 million. Okay, you buy it now at 60-some thousand. It's worth a heck of a lot more. And what is that going to be, roughly 7 years or so? Okay, that kind of makes sense. But I also don't like being diluted that much. I don't own shares in Marathon. You guys know that. I don't know how everybody else feels about this. But yeah, I mean, I would rather have them, I think, mine Bitcoin, hodl it during when it's opportunistic, before the halving, after the halving, and then sell a portion of it to fund growth after, into the next, fund growth in the next bear market potentially. That was always kind of my thought process on how that should be done. And I think Fred has also stated in the past, they did a study where what was the best outcome basically? Hodl everything, not sell it. Sell everything, don't hodl anything, or if you did a 50-50 split between the two. And I think their study came out saying that it was beneficial to do a 50-50% split on hodl and selling, over time. Understandably, you can't make money on that way. But it's surprised that they are going full bore into this hodl position. So that's kind of my thought on it. And the stock didn't do too well today. It was down a little bit as well. Let's take a look at where it was down today. So the stock didn't it was down 11% on the day, right? So that news definitely didn't sit well with investors, which I can understand. I'm not a big fan of this either. It's more or less like a MicroStrategy play on them, but they're a Bitcoin miner. They're mining Bitcoin. Why would they buy more Bitcoin and dilute shares? It's not really diluting shares. They're doing convertible notes nonetheless, but still. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this, I guess, in the long run. It could work out very well for them, potentially, if they hodl through it, but then you're going to be hodling it, and you're going to be diluting shareholders to do the hodl as well. So it's not great for shareholders that way. I think if they were to expand operations, hash rate, I think that would be more creative, potentially, possibly. But that's just kind of my take on it. I'd like to know what you guys think. We'll talk about that maybe in the Q&A side of things. Okay, so that's it on Marathon there. And next is Mawson here. So Mawson had great news today. Mawson Infrastructure Group, Inc. expands into AI HPC market and announces the signing of an AI HPC co-location agreement for 20 megawatts. So that's a good get for them. As you guys know, Mawson was one of my companies that I thought might be going out of business. Let's take a look at Mawson here really quick. I don't have it on this sheet. Sorry. I have in my smaller sheets, but they have older machines. They're like the 80 some terahash machines, very, very inefficient machines. And I thought they were getting more into hosting as well, things like that. So they weren't buying any new machines to upgrade their old fleet of self-mining Bitcoin miners. And that's why I was thinking they might be on the chopping block, might be going into bankruptcy depending on where Bitcoin goes. And the only thing that would save them really was Bitcoin going up quite nicely here in price in the next 6 months or so. But this definitely saves them, I believe, out of that possibility. So today they announced that it has entered into a binding AI HPC artificial intelligence high performance computing co-location business agreement with BE Global Development Limited to provide an additional 20 megawatts of digital infrastructure for AI HPC co-location services at a fixed predetermined price for the first 2 years of the agreement and with an additional 6-year contract. So my understanding of this one is it's a little bit different from what they have with what Core has with CoreWeaver. Core has a contract where basically they're just providing the infrastructure, and then CoreWeave pays the electrical price, electrical cost, all that stuff. And it seems like with Mawson here, they are paying for that. They're paying for the electricity, and then they're charging the customer on top of that for it. Okay, going down here, the initial 20 megawatt of capacity is expected to be deployed in the first quarter of 2025 and could generate approximately $92 million of potential revenue to Mawson during the first 2 years of the agreement and approximately $285 million of total cumulative revenue over 6-year initial contract term of the agreement. So every 2 years, they get to renegotiate, I guess, the pricing on the electricity and things like that. on it. And in addition, Mawson and the customer has also signed a non-binding letter of intent to increase the initial 20 megawatts of AI HPC co-location services to a total of 144 megawatts over time, which has the long-term potential to increase the total AI HPC co-location capacity and services by 6x, which is true there. So really good get for Mawson, I guess you could say. And we'll see how they do going forward here. This definitely puts them on a much better footing with revenue and everything else going forward. It is a different deal that they have from what CoreWeave has with Core Scientific has with CoreWeave on it. But yeah, this is really good. So nice going by Mawson here to get that. And this is really like the third larger size contract you could say that we've seen here in the industry with the Bitcoin miners. First one that we saw was with Digital and their customer for 50 million in annual revenue. They upped that to 97 million now. And then we saw Core with CoreWeave getting that to 3.5 billion over the 12 years for, I believe it was 200 megawatts. And then CoreWeave actually increased that over the last couple months here. So they're at what, 4.2 billion, I think, in total revenue, and like 200, it's close to like 300 megawatts or something like that in all. So those are the only three that have really gotten substantial businesses right now in HPC and AI. And we've been talking about this where it's kind of like, I need to see more of this stuff based on just all the demand that they were talking about that's being out there right now. And we only have three that have gotten it. So where's the rest of the demand out there, I guess, for the other miners? Okay. A little comparison here that I just want to take a look at as well. I pulled in the numbers here for the original offer for Core and Wolf here. So we have the amount here, Wolf 285 million over 6 years, megawatts 20. Core has 3.5 billion initial contract for 12 years at 200 megawatts. It comes out to be 47 million per year, roughly, for Wolf. Or sorry, that should be Mawson. Why do I have Wolf in here? My bad. I was doing Wolf numbers, Mawson. And so that's 47.5 million for Mawson. Core, 291 million roughly. And then what are they getting per megawatt per year? So Mawson is getting 2.3 million here per megawatt per year on this deal. And like I said, I think this is the difference between the two deals here, where Mawson is paying the electricity cost and being basically charging that back into the customer, whereas Core is not charging the electrical cost here, which is there at 1.4 million per megawatt per year on it. But if we look at the megawatt per contract, Mawson is getting 14.2 million per megawatt on the contract, and Core is getting 17.5 million here. So it looks like Core is still getting the better of the deals here in the long run, if you look at it that way. All right, just some interesting little footnotes. I probably should have put in here Digital as well, as far as what they're getting on it as well. But that's kind of at least what we see here. Okay, so that's it for that one. Let's take a look at the next one that we do have here, which is, so this is CORZ Scientific, right, their initial deal, and this is where I pulled the data from just to make sure. And then we got Bitdeer. They report on unaudited financial results for the second quarter of 2024. And I'm still waiting for the actual filings with the SEC for both Bitdeer and Terawulf to get the actual number of shares that they have outstanding right now as of the reporting date. And I haven't seen those come through at the end of, I think last time I checked was like the 9/15 or something like that, and I didn't see those yet. So we'll get that updated when that does happen here. But here's what we have here. So revenue of 99.2 million and gross margin of 24.6%, adjusted beta of 24.9 million, up 33% year over year. Q2 2024 financial highlights, total revenue was 99.2 million. And so that was up nicely from Q2 of 2023. Cost of revenue was down a little bit here to 74.8 million compared to 77.7 million of last year. Gross profit was 24.4 million compared to 16.2. So that was good. Net loss was 17.7 million compared to 40.4 million. So that's a nice improvement there. Adjusted EBITDA was 24.9. So that's an improvement here over last year of 18.7. And cash equivalents also increased to 203 million overall. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in here. They provide a lot of tables and data, which is nice to see there. And they actually provide all the tables for the financial results down here. And that's kind of what I put into my spreadsheets here right now. And then let's get into those. Okay, so Bitdeer shares outstanding right now is still the old number. I'm waiting, like I said, for the number to be updated. Current market cap is about 880 million right now, depending on the number of shares that they do have here. I think they reported, let's take a look at that right now. They reported 120, what did they report on it overall? Loss per share diluted, 126 weighted average. So it has increased. I have them currently at 117. So depending where the actual number was, it could be closer to 130, 135 million. Don't know exactly. We'll get that number, but that could definitely put them closer to 1 billion market cap right now. The performance of the last 12 weeks has been kind of mixed here. They're up 38% from 12 weeks ago, down 20% from 8 weeks ago, down 25% from 4 weeks ago, and last week they were up 7%. On current hash rate 7.5, future hash rate 11, they do have a lot of things going for them. They are building their own ASIC machines. Those should start coming in, I think, already in this quarter, Q3 into Q4. And they have a nice roadmap going forward into next year, into 2026 as well, with the types of ASICs that they want to build as far as efficiencies and things like that, which will then help them grow their own hash rate as well at a much better cost compared to some of the other miners going forward. But a lot of their growth is not until 2025 and into 2026. They are building out facilities in multiple locations, Ohio. There's other ones that are, I can't pronounce even, there's a couple, they have a location, so you guys can check that out. But yeah, going down here, last 4 quarters revenue here. So revenue was down 99.2, which we've seen with a lot of the miners here, from 119. And then total current estimated Q2 or Q3 numbers is 52 million, but that's only based for their self-mining. That does not include the hosting that they do or the cloud solution that they have. That does not include that in there. Last 4 quarters operating costs minus depreciation have come down to 74.8 million, so that's a good sign there. Custom mine 1 Bitcoin, 49,000 here. That's without depreciation. We'll take a look at the depreciation number down below. Bitcoin mine quarterly has been coming down. I mean, they're half of what they were in Q4. So they are definitely not keeping up with the network hash rate, not installing more hash rate like they really should be doing here right now. But they're building out, and like I said, a lot of their growth is going to be in 2025 and 2026. Okay, going down here, we'll get into these metrics in a second here. Assets did increase here to 486 million, so that's a nice increase from the 419 that they had. Total assets 827 million, also nice increase from 690 million from the prior quarter. Let's see, total liabilities increased a little bit here to 79 million from 70 million, so that's not too bad. Total liabilities also increased here to 479 from 391. Almost 100 million here. Most of that came in from, let's see here, they had new line items here that were put in. Derivative liabilities, 25 million, and deferred revenue from a related party of 32 million here on that one. What else do we have here? Total liabilities and stockholder equity is now 827 million compared to 690 million, so that's good there. Revenues, self-mining was at 41.6 million. Cloud hash rate was 12.2 million. These two numbers, they always combine into what they actually report as self-mined there. General hosting was 20 million. Then we got membership hosting was 22 million. Other was 2.7. So general hosting did come down here, along with cloud hash rate has come down as well. Membership hosting actually went up to 22, and other went down to 2.7, approximately half, not even half, but a little bit less than half on that one. Total revenue, like we talked about, was 99 million here. Cost of revenue in millions was 74 million, so that's a nice decrease from the 83 million that they had there. Gross profit came in at 24 million, so that is a decrease from the 34 million that they had. And then profit loss from operations was negative 15 million here instead of the 501,000 they had profit in Q1. And see, there was a big change in here. Research and development actually came down here to 8 million, so that was a good sign there. They were spending quite a lot in Q1 for research and development, 21 million, that's a lot. And then they also had other net gain was negative 15 million on something here. I haven't really figured out what that is yet. So going down here, they lost a total of 17 million, lost 14 cents per share, and then the average share was 126 million here on average on that one. I also pulled in the tables here for their business lines as far as self-mining, cloud hash rate, general hosting, membership, and then I included the self-mining plus cloud hash rate. And they also include depreciation and share-based payment expenses in one. I wish they would separate this out. I'd like to just take a look at what the depreciation is, but it is what it is. I probably could find it in the SEC filings when they do file those. I might be able to subtract those things out for share-based payments. Maybe, we'll see. But I wish they would do that separately on it. And then here's our net profit for each segment. So 47 million, or 47% on self-mining, 68% on cloud hash rate, 24% on general hosting, and 18% on membership hosting. That's kind of what I would expect out of those business segments there. What else do we have here? So I do use the depreciation and share-based expenses here, the combined 11.4 million when I look at the numbers up top here, which we'll get into right now. and that's included in here. So cost to mine 1 Bitcoin here for the quarter was 38.5. BTC mine was 628 for their self-mining there. Debt to equity, we talked about that. Current ratio, we also talked about that, I believe, already. That's gone down. Current ratio has gone up, so that's a good sign there. Book value of equities, 479 million. Price to book ratio, 1.8. Enterprise value, 890 million. Revenue was 99 million in overall. And then general administrative compensation was 15 million. So it was only 15, about 16%. So that's actually pretty good there. And like I said, I don't have any shares here for them for the end of the quarter numbers here, or when they reported it. So based on all of that, I updated the numbers here for their quarterly, the last 3 quarters, which are now actual numbers. I was off actually on them quite a bit here. I was surprised. They reported, let me see here, 41.6 million. I had them at 39.4. So not sure why I was off by that much on it, but I was off. So I was off by 5% on it, whereas before the last 2 quarters, I was pretty close on it. So I'm surprised that I was off by that much. Maybe they sold at better times than I thought. I have it at the average monthly price for Bitcoin when I do my numbers here, so maybe they sold better than that, which would be a good thing actually. But so that includes the numbers up here now, and the current quarter is also estimated right now as it is. Based on all this stuff, I'm looking at them to be between $14.25 and $21.38. They are at $7.61. I do believe that they're undervalued. They should be 2x from where they are right now on that, but I think just a lot of the growth that they have is not until 2025 and into 2026 that might be having an impact on the stock right now. Okay, so that's it. Takeaways for Bitdeer. Like I said, they have a lot of growth into next year and the following year as well. They have a lot of opportunities with their ASICs that they're putting out. We'll see how well those are adopted by the industry in general, how much they can get revenue for that. We'll probably start seeing that come in maybe at the end of Q3, if not at the end of Q4 numbers for sales on those things. See how many they're selling of those. But yeah, I mean, I think they're doing all the right things. They don't have anything. They don't hodl anything right now. I wish they would hodl a little bit more, because as Bitcoin price goes up, it kind of also shows that you believe in Bitcoin price going up. They don't hodl, but they've been doing that to basically fund their operations and research and all that stuff as well. And trying to dilute as little as possible. So, yeah, no qualms here. I wish they would have been growing more into this year. I think next year, if they even grow next year, I think that's going to be a good thing going forward. As long as Bitcoin starts, going to its parabolic rise sometime in 25, they might catch a nice bounce from that as well. All right, so that's it on Bitdeer. And let's get into the last one here, which is on Terawulf. So Terawulf reports second quarter 2024 financial results. They paid down approximately $30 million of debt in Q2, followed by significant repayment of $75.8 million in July, fully eliminating the company's debt ahead of maturities. That's great news there. They did that through cash flow and through ATM, or basically dilution as well on it. So self-mined 539 Bitcoin at the Lake Mariner facility. Revenue increased to $35.6 million in Q2 compared to $50 million of Q2 of last year. Gross profit exclusive of depreciation increased $21.7 million compared to $10 million the previous year. And then total self-mining hash rate capacity at Lake Mariner facility of 8.8 exahash as of June 30th, representing an increase of 79% relative to the same period from last year. So those are all good things here. What else do we have here? I thought I highlighted something else. Yep. Production and operational updates. So as previously announced, the company is advancing activities to support a large-scale, high-performance computing HPC and AI project at the Lake Mariner facility. The company has committed an additional 2 megawatt block of power to the project, capable of supporting thousands of the latest generation graphics processing units. During the second quarter, the company purchased 128 GPU clusters from NVIDIA, financed by a leading OEM. To support this project, the company has upgraded the internet connection at the Lake Mariner facility to meet the bandwidth requirements of AI, designed a closed-loop liquid cooling system, so that's great, and ensured power supply redundancy for 100% reliability. So they are going for more like a tier 3 data center there, and it's kind of like a little pilot project for them right now to see what can they do with it, what kind of customers can they get with it, and they do have the potential to increase that also going into like next year and the following year as well. But yeah, that's it. Let me see here. Same thing with them. I don't have the number of shares outstanding right now for I went through all this. Okay, so let's take a look at my spreadsheet here for them. And let's see here, Terawulf. Okay, so Terawulf, like I said, we're using the old number of shares Once that gets updated, I'll get that updated. I'm hoping it's going to be updated by tomorrow sometime. The current market cap based on those is about you could say 1.2 billion roughly. The performance of the last 12 weeks has actually been pretty good here. They're up 94% from 12 weeks ago, down 3% from 8 weeks ago, down 28% from 4 weeks ago, and they were up 3.2% from last week. So the stock has been doing really well here recently. I'm basically being fully installed right now at 10 exahash right now. They are, as they paid off debt here, I'm guessing that they will probably start getting more miners in eventually. I just don't know exactly when. Going down here, last 4 quarters of revenue here has been coming down, but we've said this before. It's kind of what we're seeing with a lot of the miners here, especially after the halving event. But they came in at 35.5 million in Q2. I'm estimating about 28 million here for the Q3 numbers. Their last 4 quarters operating costs minus depreciation have come down to 27 million. So that's good there. Cost of mining 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation 25.8 roughly, right? This is the estimated number based on what they reported was their cost. And the revenue, and then I just take out depreciation from that as well. So that's based on that. Bitcoin quarterly came down to 539. Their best quarter was Q1. Debt to equity has been coming down to 0.24, so that's really good there. Current ratio 1.2, much better from where it was right now. And then Q3 will be even better. So they've done a really good job here paying the debt off. I've said this before. I would have liked to have seen them use the ATM or dilution to pay off the debt into the halving event. They did that a couple months afterwards, which is great. And then total current assets increased to 110 million here. Total current liabilities decreased to 92 million. That's actually going to be down even less, like down to 20 some odd million here at the end of Q3, depending where we end up at, but that's kind of what we're looking at here. All right, going down here to the numbers, assets increased to 110 million from 54. Nice increase there. That should increase even more in Q3. Total assets 479 million from 395. That's also great. Total current liabilities went down to 92 million from 122. Fantastic. And then total liabilities down to 93 million from 123 million. And then total liabilities and stockholder equity went up to 479 million from 395 million. And then going down here, revenues. So revenues came in at 46.1. Self-mining only came in at 35 million here for them. And then JV revenue was about 10 point that I could figure out here. Cost of revenues was 13.9, and this is just for their self-mining, not including the JV revenue side of things. On it, operating expenses, let's see here. Operating expenses was 797,000. Cost of revenues, that's the combination of those there. So operating expenses related party 875, selling and general administrative 9 million here. That's down from the 12 million, so that's good. Selling general administrative related party up a little bit here, but not bad. And then we got depreciation was 14 million instead of 15 million, so a little bit of a decrease there. Total cost of operations came in at 28 million here. And then operating loss was negative 6 million here compared to negative 2 million, so they did lose a little bit more here on that one. What else do we have here that was in here? Net loss attributable to common shareholders was negative 11 million compared to 9.9 million roughly. And they lost basically the same amount, 3 cents per share. And like I said, I'm still waiting on the number of shares there. So they're doing all the right things here. They paid down their debt, which was huge. That was one of the things that was just kind of bugging me about the Terawulf, is just the amount of debt that they had there going into the halving event. But it's nice to see that they got that paid off. And then looking at some of the metrics here, like I said, 25 million or 25,000 per Bitcoin is what I calculated right now. Enterprise value 1.18 million here, billion, sorry. Debt to equity 0.24, current ratio 1.2, book to value 386 million, price to book ratio 3.08, enterprise value 1.189, EBITDA 7.8 million came in, looks like, based on my numbers, and then EV to beta was 152. Right now in it, revenue self-mining 35, general administrative compensation 11.9, that's 33%. It's down from the 35, so they're trending in the right way, I think, on that one. I'd like to see that definitely below 20, but I think that will help also if they can get their hash rate installed more, grow that going forward, and so on. And now let me see if I updated the numbers here. Yeah, I was only up by 1% on them for their self-mining here, so that's pretty good. I like being where I'm at right there. I mean, you can see where I was before, trying to figure their stuff out. I was down 17%, up 9 before, and then as time has gone on, I have definitely honed that in a little bit better here on what they are actually generating for self-mining, not including the joint venture on top of that. So that has gotten better over time. I'm happy with that. And let me see here if I'm using the latest data here, last 3 quarters, which I may not be. Oh, I am. Okay. I couldn't remember if I updated that or not, but I did. So we're using that number and having between 389 and 584. They're at 357. I think they're slightly undervalued for right now. They've had a huge run up here recently in the last couple of weeks. So that's kind of where we have them. So they're not too far off from where they really should be on top of it. So they're undervalued, but on the higher side a little bit. All right. Takeaways for Terawulf. Keep up the great work. We'd like to see them grow some more this year into next year as well. And maybe I missed something here, but that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. So if I missed anything for like Terawulf or Bitdeer as far as growth-wise, let me know. I'll get that updated as well. Okay, so that is it. That's everything here that we have right now. As always, Patreon members get access to the spreadsheets. Link to that is in the description down below. $8 a month. And if you get the annual subscription, it's a 10% off on top of that. You might find some spots that are $5 or $4. Tiers as well that are open. Jump on those if you can. That's a nice discount for you guys. And you get access to the private Discord server as well. Okay, there's a sales pitch. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things. And I would have started this show earlier today, but like I said, I was listening to Elon and President Trump talk about all the stuff that's going on in the world that they have viewpoints on. Okay. Hey Sebastian, just out of curiosity, what do you do your regular day job and do you do it full time? Is it related to BTC mining? No, it's not related to BTC mining. My regular day job is now I got a promotion. I'm VP of operations, and I do that full time. I did do Bitcoin mining from 2017 to 2022 with a friend of mine. I was basically managing the farm for him. We had 600 machines plugged in. And that was a side gig as well. And YouTube is a side gig now because of the pandemic. I got bored and wanted to do something. So this is kind of where I started doing. Let's see. Okay. Question, which miner is both best positioned for HPC ideal combined with mining growth plans? I'm thinking IREN, but isn't Bitfarms open to HPC as well? Yeah, Bitfarms is open as well. You could put Terawulf in there as well. They have a great facility that has abundant power and abundant water supply for cooling if they need to. So you got IREN, Terawulf in there, I think. No, excuse me. And Bitfarms as well, potentially. Bitfarms is open to it, but they're saying not until maybe 2025, 2026 sometime on that one. As Market's stat says, Apple should be buying BTC instead of buying back shares. Yeah. How do you think Hut 8's earnings will be? Oh, gosh, that's a tough one. The tough part is figuring out what they make on the managed services, hosting side of things. Their self-mining is very, very small, so my numbers are going to be off on it. I don't know how they're going to do. They also have a huge HODL position, which they have the FASB rules applied to that as well. Oh, gosh, excuse me, burped. I think that's going to have an impact on him, so I'm not sure. I know for sure it's not going to be a positive EPS, and there's no way. It's definitely going to be down. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Will Bitfarms use FASB accounting methods moving forward? How can we compare them apples to apples with other miners? They will not be using FASB rules. They are based in Canada. FASB rules are only for the U.S. Based companies. So they can't. And then how can we compare them apples to apples with other miners? You look at operations, uptime, growth going forward, price to mine Bitcoin. Those are all the things you can kind of compare them to other miners as well. The Asian dietitian. Oh, congrats on the promotion. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been with the same company for 28 years. So every, I would say 5 to 7 years, I get a promotion more or less. That's been fun. It's a great company, family owned. Absolutely love working there. Let's see. Did Bitfarms earnings report mention any planned ATM dilution this year, especially while hostile takeover looming? Do you think Bitfarms will dilute to achieve higher hash rate, exahash? Thank you, sir. No, they reported they are fully funded to 21 exahash and a little bit beyond, and they are planning to get to 35 exahash. So they might dilute a little bit, but I'm guessing it's going to be minimal going forward, unless they really want to grow into 2025, get to 35 exahash, and possibly beyond that. Let's see here. Victor asks question, Trump mentioned about AI, that the U.S. will need a lot of electricity to compete in the AI space. Will this be a positive for IREN? IREN does have a good portfolio of sites for, 3 gigawatts, I believe, total. So yes, this could be good for them. But this also makes them a possible buyout target by somebody, a hyperscaler or something like that, where they just don't want to deal with the company there potentially. So we'll have to keep an eye on IREN to see if there's any rumblings or anything like that of a potential buyout, because they do have the potential there, but also a lot of the companies are looking for power readily available right now, and which they do also have. So that's gonna be interesting to see where we end up in the next year. Let's see. How do you read into leading OEM funding Wolf's initial HPC hardware? Who do you think it might be? It might be microcomputer, one of those. Dell could be one of those as well. Who else is in that space? I'm trying to think. There's another one that I'm thinking, but I can't think of the name right now. So there's a couple that could be helping them there. If Bitfarms has long-dated call options on BTC that are a year old, shouldn't they be 2x right now? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not into options, so I wouldn't know. Thoughts on Mara ATM to buy BTC? It's not an ATM. It's convertible notes. It's different from an ATM. This seems bullish as they are following MicroStrategy playbook and diversifying BTC accumulation strategy. At some point, hold will matter and Mara will lead the way. Maybe that works out for them. But MicroStrategy has 200 some thousand now Bitcoin, I think. Whereas Mara has 20,000, so 1/10 the size of what MicroStrategy has. And I mean, we saw what the market did today with them. They were down 11%. I think they were down the most out of the miners here today. Marathon, yeah, they were down the most. So I don't know if the market liked it that they were doing that. I think the market would rather have them be a Bitcoin miner and then hodl, if anything, but not to be buying Bitcoin. Maybe I could be wrong on that. I don't know. But it could work out for them. But it just means that you're going to have probably more dilution happening going forward for them to hodl it for the next possible 7 years. I don't know how that's going to work out. It's going to be tough. Let's see. What's your biggest position right now? My biggest position is in Cleanspark, followed by Bitfarms, only because IREN has come way down here. IREN was my second position, but IREN's now my third position here. And then after that, we got, who's after that? CORZ after that. And if we look at coins, it's Bitcoin, and then I think it's Ethereum still as the top two that I have. Bitcoin by far the most, though. Let's see. Today's news on Mara changes your mind on accumulating, and also does the strategy increase their price appreciation? That's the thing that I don't know. Gosh, I don't know. I'm still not happy with. I wouldn't say happy. I don't think it's my preferred method for a company that's mining Bitcoin to be purchasing Bitcoin. You're mining it at a much lower cost. Why wouldn't you just increase your doggone hash rate, double it if you have to, and then we can mine even more Bitcoin? You can hodl it. Excuse me, at a much lower cost than you are going to be buying it. So that's kind of where I stand on this, I guess, is why buy it when you can mine it? And they're mining a lot of it. Increase your hash rate, you can mine even more. So that's kind of the way I look at it. I'm not a big fan of companies buying Bitcoin to put on their balance sheet. If I wanted to do that, I would buy it myself, or I would invest in MicroStrategy, really. Let's see here. Hopefully you could retire after BTC reaches 300,000 this cycle, so you could dedicate more time researching Bitcoin mining stocks. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. If Bitcoin gets to 300,000, that would be great. But depending on when I sell, I know I'm going to be able to pick the top on this cycle. I'm going to be selling before it, and I could be selling way earlier than where it might actually go. But I'll be happy with 7 figures if I can do that with the time that I started in 2020. Really getting heavy into the miners and putting a lot of capital into them. If I can make it 7 figures in, what is it going to be? Basically 3 years, 2022, 23, 24, 25, 4 years roughly. So if I can make it in 4 years, I'd be happy with that. Let's see. Mining is limited by electricity. That and the efficiency of the miners. So depending on how efficient your miners are, that's also the main factor to it also. Let's see. Just to note, the publicly traded hyperscalers would require carbon-free energized infrastructure. Most of these guys already have it. I wouldn't say it's carbon-free, but it's either renewable, it's nuclear, or there might be a small percentage of natural gas in there. Okay. Hello, Seb. I have Bitfarms shares. What happens to Riot if Riot buys them out? I own both. Just curious. Thank you. I think at that point you would get shares of more shares of Riot and some cash in there as well. Are you buying any miners or eyeing? I depleted my capital here for probably the next 2 weeks or so. So I'm waiting patiently, hoping that things don't go too high too fast. But I would be buying probably some more IREN, Bitfarms, and depending if Cleanspark gets below like $10 or $9, I may buy that one again. Okay, Asian Delight asks, I have 44 options call contracts and CORZ expiring 24/9/24. So September 24th of this year, the P&L is 858% open interest, 1.17 thousand, but hardly any volume, 3 to 10, only every few days. What approach may be good for selling this? Continued down below. That one you may, hopefully somebody that's watching can provide some better information on that. I don't do options trading, so I wouldn't know on that one. And let's see, she continues on here. Letting it expire in the money will just negate the big profit percentage. If I get core stock on the strike price of 4, which is 44 X times 40, is only worth 176. Is that how it works? Current value 44 options 23. Yeah, that I don't know. Hopefully somebody that's in the stream and paying attention will be able to help you out with that one. That has more knowledge on this. I don't. I'm sorry. Let's see. Yeah, what's the point of being a Bitcoin miner if you're just going to buy it? Yeah, you're basically a MicroStrategy at that point. Let's see. Maybe Mara thinks that BTC will appreciate faster than they could take 250. I mean, that's a possibility. But how much faster do you think it's going to grow? I mean, are you thinking it's going to grow to $500,000 within the next 2 years? Okay, if it does that, then yeah, this was going to definitely be a smart move. But if you're thinking it's going to be by sometime in 2031, you're basically 7 years out at that point, and we may be through another bear cycle into another bull run. Who knows? I don't know. What else we got here? MicroStrategy up 900%, buying the top. Mara bullish. Okay. Let's see. Mawson got 200 million deal with 20 megawatts worth of power. Imagine once IREN builds out over 2.3 gigawatts of power of infrastructure. Thoughts? They're probably searching for a huge deal opportunity with what is it? Morgan Stanley. Possibly, yes. That is a possibility there. The big thing is they would have to build out or improve their infrastructure there. They would have to get it to a tier 3 data center or something like that, which is what Mawson's doing, what CORZ is also doing as well. That's something they could definitely do, but it's just going to take a little time for them to do that as well. But yeah, we'll see. So far, like I said, this is like the third nice contract that we've seen here out of all the miners currently, which I was surprised that Mawson got it instead of somebody else. But nonetheless, Mawson got it, so that's great there for them. And then we'll see who else gets a nice contract on it, if there's even more contracts to be had there. Let's see. Thoughts on Cleanspark launching a Cleanspark pool in the future? Is there pros and cons to that? Yes, there is pros and cons. The pros is you basically keep all the transaction fees that are in there, also the Bitcoin rewards as well. You get all that. You can also do like the more Marathon does with like Slipstream, where they can put in, non-conforming blocks into Bitcoin because of the size, whatever it might be. And that they can do that. The cons are you're going to have basically somebody man that 24/7 for you. So you're paying a little bit on top of that, and you're possibly paying also a fee for the pool, unless you develop it internally, or if you buy from somebody, you're probably going to be paying like a monthly fee on that or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, depending what kind of deal you can run up with that. So, and then as far as them running their own pool, I asked, who did I ask that before? I think I asked Matt on that question, and I think I asked Tyler as well on Spaces on X, and they both said that they are not interested in having a pool. They have a great relationship with whoever they're using. I think they're using Foundry, and they said that they do a great job for them, and they have a very small fee there. So it's kind of like, why would you do that? But who knows? I think you're talking about the conversation that Zach had with somebody today, and he mentioned that they might do this if you see a concentration in the pools, right? So where the pools get really concentrated, and then you have the fear of having a 51% attack on it. That's why they say that I think they could do that going forward. Mark says IREN will be a beast. I hope so. I have quite a nice number of shares there. Let's see. Hi Sebastian, how has Canon not run at all? Yeah, I've kept an eye on Canon just every once in a while. I'll take a look at it, see what's going on there. And they haven't done well at all compared to Bitcoin in the last year and a half or so. Bitcoin's up, they're actually down. I think they're just not innovating fast enough compared to some of the other AC miners. And then also I think they have also self-mining as well. So they're not growing that much there. I think that's the reasons for it. Mara's also mining Caspa. Yes, they are mining that. Why did Cleanspark buy a jet? Where'd you guys hear that? I've been seeing that, but I haven't seen any press releases or anything like that. Let me know where you guys heard that. The only reason I can think of they would buy a jet is because both Matt and Zach, I believe, live in Nevada, in Las Vegas, and they have operations in now multiple states. So you got Wyoming, you got Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi, and where else? I think they have one more facility someplace else. So I think maybe that's the only reason why you would buy a jet, is so you can, fly between those facilities if need be. But depending on how much they paid for it, I hope they didn't pay too much for it if they did buy one. I'm surprised that they didn't use like one of those plane sharing where you can have private plane sharing things where you can basically use it when you need it. But I don't know if that's more attractive or if it's actually more attractive to buy a plane, but then you have the upkeep and everything else on it. You can write off the plane too as an expense, I guess. Let's see. I'm bullish with Bitfarms, but I'm still concerned about their production. Is it strong and lean compared to others? If possible, could you have a rank for it? Yes, we will rank them based on the July numbers, and maybe this week or next week we'll do that, where I compare all the miners as far as how they did for the month and which ones were the top miners in that month as well, based on multiple metrics. Like I think it's 8 metrics on there, so we will do that. Eddie says, I don't understand. IREN could easily do a deal with multiple companies. They don't have to fully be built out, lease them, and create some cash flows. Mawson isn't fully built out, but still have contract. Yeah, they could definitely do that. But I mean, the difference is that IREN has a heck of a lot more potential as far as megawatts going forward, which might be more, what's the word I'm looking for here? More desirable by some of the hyperscalers going forward, if they definitely are looking to build out and they know they're going to be building out going a lot more. Right? Remember, Amazon spent $34 billion on upgrading their systems in the past 6 months. They're looking to spend another $30 billion. That's that's $64 billion. That's more than the combined market cap of all the publicly traded mining companies in there. And that's one company spending that. So that one company could possibly buy out like half of these miners here if they wanted to and get all the power there. So that's always in the back of my mind there a little bit. Question, would you buy more if it goes to 13? Gosh. If I had the capital, I probably would, to be honest. If it got down to 13, if I had the capital, I probably would buy it, put it into my basket of miners that I do have here, because at that point I do think that they are way undervalued from where they really should be. Let's see. If Bitcoin's 109,000, what IREN will be? Thanks. So from where we are right now, we're looking at roughly 2x on Bitcoin. At that point, I would think IREN would be at least a minimum of 3x, if not somewhere around 4 or 5x. Hard Knock says, the move by Mara today is going to pay off big time, in my opinion. Possibly, right? I just don't know about the dilution on it. How much are they going to dilute to hold it for the next 7 years, potentially? And they have been holding a lot here recently as well. So that's my only concern there, is how much are you going to be diluting? Mara also mining Caspa. Yeah, we said that since last year, and Caspa is up 100 or 1,000% since then. Does anyone know how much value they have in Caspa in altcoin? But in altcoin bull run, this could be substantial. Yeah, I think they reported. Did they reported what they had in Q2? I think so. If you look at the Q2 results, I think you might be able to find it. Search for Caspa in there, you might be able to see it. Let's see. What else we got here? How many shares of IREN you holding roughly? Oh gosh, I had to look that up. I think it's, what is it, like 5,000 shares? Where's it at? I gotta look up in my thing. I got too many numbers in my head, so I can never remember what I have. That's why I use cheat sheets and spreadsheets to help me out here. Let's see here. IREN, yeah, 5,371 shares on that one. And then I got 450 shares of Core. Cleanspark, I'll get 8,100 shares. Bitfarms, 21,680 shares. Okay, that's basically my portfolio there on the miners. Okay, close that. Okay. Let's see, is the 10Q they mentioned at 10.8 million expense? Are you talking about the plane there possibly? I mean, if it's 10.8 million, that's not too bad. Let's see. Trying to find questions from what I call. Let's see. People on X are getting really bearish. I don't get it. We have CPI, PPI, PCE coming up, and IREN is in the news. BTC is holding steady, all things considered. Yeah. You know, it could be just the big players are trying to shake all of us out potentially, and people that have bought into some of these miners that were much higher, like Marathon was at 30 some odd dollars just a couple months ago. And if you're down to, where's Marathon now? Marathon is down to $15. You know, you're down, what's it going to be, 50%, if not a little bit more. That's definitely painful. Some of the other stocks are also down 50%, so it's definitely not a good time in the mining space right now, unless you're catching some of these miners that are doing pretty good here or haven't done as well in the past, but now are kind of catching a little bit up on it. So I can totally understand why there's a sentiment change here in the miners, why everybody's kind of down in the dumps on them, and so that does happen, but I think it's just where somebody's trying to shake us out, you know, before the next leg up, which could be possibly sometime like September, October, where we start going back up, I think. Let's see. Hard Knock says, was loading today, Mark, Cleanspark, Riot, and IREN. Nice. Those are the good companies. Are you buying more Bitfarms or IREN if you had some disposable cash? Yeah, I definitely would be buying some more. Let's see. Mara is not MicroStrategy. Little bro, eventually they're going to have to sell a chunk of their hodl. If not, expect for more heavy dilution. That's kind of my fear there. The dilution we know is going to happen because they are going to have to dilute in order to fund operations, pay electricity for the miners that they are doing, and pay for everything else if they continue to hodl. So we will see that happen eventually, I think. But right now they have a pretty good stack in cash and things like that. I think they can probably weather at least a couple quarters before they need to start putting on the ATM. Is this a good buying strategy? Bitfarms, then IREN, then Cleanspark. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, Bitfarms and IREN are pretty close to being similarly undervalued right now. I think maybe Bitfarms a little bit more so. So yeah, if you go Bitfarms, IREN, Cleanspark, yeah, I think that's a good way to go. That's kind of the way I would go, at least right now. What signals will you be keeping an eye on for when to take profits close to the market top? We'll be looking at stock to flow ratio, the power law as well. We'll be looking at RSIs. We'll be looking at a lot of things that are happening here. We'll be looking to see where the miners are at and pricing and things like that. But I'll probably start taking profits when Bitcoin's above 100,000. I just don't know exactly where it's going to go to, so I'll start slowly trimming my position there at that point, I think. Let's see. What else we got here? What is, I'm guessing you're saying Amazon building, Amazon is building AI, the data centers for their AWS. Let's see. Hardock says also Cleanspark and Riot are insanely low here. Think we will see a violent move up. Yes, there's a potential. I do believe that they are way low also. Let's see. Try to catch up to some of your questions here. You guys are talking about Mara a lot here. There's a lot of conversation happening on that. Let's see here. Do you know which Bitcoin miners have the access to the largest amount of electricity? I think right now it might be IREN has a pipeline to like 3 gigawatts. Everybody else is building out. Let's see here. Oh, not Core. Who's it? Riot. Riot, I think, has a pipeline potential of around 2 gigawatts or something like that. That's kind of where I would see things. Okay, Mark says, okay, page F33 on the 10Q, Cleanspark purchased an aircraft for 10.8 million, 500,000 down payment. Okay. Hopefully it's a pretty good airplane. I mean, 10.8 million is not that bad. They're valued at what? Almost $3 billion, so that's not bad at all. If it saves them time and everything else, that's okay. If it was like 100 million, 200 million airplane, okay, 10.8 million. Hopefully it's at least a good airplane at that point. So thank you, Mark, for sharing that. I didn't see that. I must have missed it. All right, I think I'm all caught up with you guys' questions here. We'll see, like I said, we'll see what happens with Marathon. It might be that it is a really good play by them to buy the Bitcoin right now. I'm just going back based on previous performances and things like that and historical numbers, but it could work out much better for them going forward. I'm not against it. I'm not really for it. I'm kind of neutral on it. I guess I'm a little bit against it, but not that bad. I still think that they're undervalued from where they really should be going forward. So we'll see how they do. Let's see. Mark says, I'm not mad at them, but some people are bag holders, no doubt. Yeah. Like I said, with Cleanspark, 10 million is not that bad. So let's see. Would you agree that Bitfarms has had the best earnings call so far? So far, yeah, I would probably say that theirs has been probably hasn't been that bad, I guess you could say. And only because they don't have the FASB rules to go with, so they're not getting knocked down on their hodl that they do have here, and they also don't have a huge hodl position, which also helps. Sour Melon Gaming says, kitchen pick soon. Let me see here. I might be able to pull that up right now. Let me see here. Let me go here. Photos to my Google. I'll give you guys a photo of it. Okay. Let's see here. Give me a second here. I'll show you guys the photo of it right now. It's still a work in progress. Put it into desktop, save it, and then we want to open it. Okay. There's that. Okay. So here it is. It is about 98% done on the kitchen side of things. We still have some things that we need to finish up. Where's my screen? There it is. Okay. There it is. This is as of, I think, Sunday. Yeah, I finished up painting and everything else. We had the tile guy come in and do that on Saturday. And I still got like caulk work to do around here and things like that. We still have to finish up the, over here, the crown molding. And then we still have some, I don't know what it's called, I guess molding over here on the legs of the countertop here. Then we need to add some more molding over here and some electrical. So I got the electrical coming out tomorrow to finish that up because we got outlets that don't have any outlets right now, as you can see over here. So we're getting there. We're getting really, really close to it being completed, which is kind of nice, actually. I've been busting my butt here in the last couple months here trying to get this done, get the YouTube going to work as well, and everything else. So I am due for a break here, and I'm going to enjoy the winter time when it does come because we're getting into fall here within the next month or so. So I'm definitely going to enjoy that, having nothing really to do around the house at that point. Okay, so that's where it's at. Let's see what else we have here as far as Q&A side of things. Let's see. Yeah, it is a huge improvement from what we had. Before, it was really tight when we had family over for holidays or birthdays. Everybody's just always crammed in the kitchen. So this definitely gives us more room. And the family's growing too. So we needed that room. Okay. Robin, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see here. See, the last couple of questions here is, I'm going to be okay in October, November, December. I hope they going to fix the electricity issues until then, or we move some other miner possibly. I mean, if they stated it, or Dan Roberts stated in his X post that they have, I think they hedged for a couple months in advance. So they're hoping that August that we're in right now is going to be more volatile for them. So they can get the better pricing like they have in the past. And same thing with September. So we'll see. We'll see what the numbers come in for August. And, if it turns out to be bad, hopefully they learn the lesson on it. They won't do it again. But we'll have to see. And then last question here of the night. Hey, Seb, last question. Do you hold any Bitcoin? Yeah, I do hold Bitcoin. Almost 2 Bitcoin on it. I've held on to it since 2017. I would have had more if I didn't try picking the tops and the bottoms. I would have had more at that point. So lesson learned. Probably lost about maybe 1.5 Bitcoin doing that. Yeah. So that's why I switched doing that completely. I'm like, I'm just going to hold on to this. I'm going to dollar cost average into the miners when they're going down. I don't know exactly where the bottom's going to be, and then I don't know where the top's going to be, so I'm going to dollar cost average out of those as well, because I cannot pick the tops or bottoms for the life of me on that one. So, all right. We'll see what happens tomorrow on the miners. We still have, I think, a couple miners that need to report their quarterly results. We'll get into other things as well. So it should be fun. We'll see where Bitcoin goes tomorrow and all that stuff. So have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in here. Greatly appreciate you guys spending the time with me. I know you guys probably could be doing other things as well, but I greatly appreciate it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.